Hi there, this is Ray here with Easy Simple Mechanic, and today we're going to try and get the headliner out of the truck so that we can fix the rails on that sunroof, so that way we can get through car washes and get through rainstorms without getting any water inside the cab. Man, today it's kind of cool. Yesterday it was really cold. We had a cold front come through. It's been really hot, and then suddenly we had a cold front and it got really cold yesterday. But today it's a little bit warmer. It's still a little cool and breezy out here, so sorry for the wind. But enjoy the episode and we'll talk to you then. We're gonna continue doing some stuff on this Raptor. We finished pretty much the stuff with the frame swap and all of that, but there's some other issues that I want to take care of before we make it, fully functional. And one of those is that the sunroof tracks or guides or whatever you call them are busted on this, so the sunroof does not open and close correctly. So I'm going to go ahead, and I ordered a kit. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to change or replace and repair that sunroof. And I understand it's an expensive venture if you take it to the dealer, so I'm going to try and do this on my own. I anticipate it's going to take some time. I got to remove the headliner, so I'm already getting started. Here is the headliner, and so we got to take off the pillars here. That's kind of close for that, so we're going to take those off. I got started, and then we're going to go ahead and remove the headliner, and then we'll remove the sunroof assembly, and then we'll remove the glass, and then we'll remove the sunroof assembly, and then we'll go ahead and see what's going on with it and try and make those repairs. So the first thing we got to do is I started by pulling these little pillars, and all you have to do is pop it loose, and then you got to slide it up just a little bit to get it to come down. On the other side, I presume there's some screws or some kind of deal over there that hold the handle for the handle there. And these, you don't really have to unhook them if you don't want, but see the little speakers. If you wanted to take this all the way off, I guess you could remove the little screws there and remove the speakers. I'm just gonna kind of pull them down and see if they don't get in the way. I won't need to remove them. And then of course I'm gonna have to go back and pull these pillars again, where the seat belts were on. Remember, I had to take those off to do the seat belt, so we're gonna have to pull those back off. We're gonna have to pull the seals down from around the doors, and we're gonna have to pop the screws, like the one up there for the hooks. And then in the back there's a few screws or little clips that need to come off. If you can see them right there and right there, we'll take those off. And then here I went ahead and took the cover off of this light. I don't know if I'll need to take it off here or if the light will come with the headliner. There may be some clips there where I take it off just so I don't have to be struggling with that wire when I go to pull that headliner out. So anyways, I'm gonna get started on this, and we'll see how this goes. I'll point out any issues that I run into. Let me continue and show you guys what I've done here to get the stuff out. By the way, I did decide to take the speakers loose out of these just so I could get everything out of the way. I didn't really want to be struggling with that sunroof system while I had the headliner in, so I went ahead and I took the headliner all the way out. Now, what I did do to get the headliner out, what made it fairly easy, is first I went ahead and I took, first you can see I took the headrests off. You can take those off by squeezing these things. There's some on both sides. You can pull them off. And then as you can see back in here, the headrests in the back, also took those out. And then there's screws that you take off right up here for the visors. There's two Phillips screws, and then there's one screw there for where the visor snaps in. You take both sides off there, and then there's a little wire that comes down, a connection that comes down, plugs into the back of the mirror. I unplugged that. And then there's also when you take to pop the cover off for the where the dome light is and stuff, for the front dome light, you just get in behind it with your nails or whatever and just snap that down, and that comes down. And then there's two kind of little screws there that you can take off, and all the wiring stays with the headliner. So you take those off, and then you come in and you pull the same thing on that side, the pillar off. On that side, we needed to take off the handle there. There's these little covers that go on the handle. You pop those off with a little screwdriver, and then behind it is 5.5 millimeter screws. You pull both of those out right there, and that pulls that off. Then you can get that little piece off there, and I did the same thing there. Remove the screws for the speaker. You can see it there. And then what I did is I went ahead and I pulled down the rubber pieces on the doorway there, and I took the pillar covers off. There's on top, there's a little snap also that you pull off with a screwdriver or whatever. And then on that one is I believe it's an 8. No, it also was a 5.5 millimeter. And then back in the corners, like right there, maybe you can see it better if I zoom in. You can see a little hole kind of thing right there, if you can see it. Anyway, on both corners in the back, you pop the little covers off of those, and you have some 5.5 things to take off there. And then you go ahead and pull those loose where you can get the headliner kind of loose behind it. There's two little snaps that go in the back right in there on the headliner, and you use one of those little push pin removers. And then when the headliner starts to come down, you can get in above it, and there's those two plugs that go to the light in the back and the stuff that needs to be wired over there. And then this thing hanging down is the connection to the motor on the sunroof. So you unplug that. Then there's these little hoses that are hanging there. You can see it like right there is one that goes like that. There's one in the corner up here. So in all four corners, you're gonna see those little rubber hoses. When you pull the headliner down just a little bit, you can unplug those as well. And okay, so once we got all of those pins out and those covers off, these rubber things here that you can just pull, you pull those down to get these covers off. You can get the covers off there, and then the headliner you can drop down. And when you drop it down, what I didn't want it in the way, is I went ahead and I laid down this seat here. I moved it as much as I could, and I laid the seat down just as far as I could get it. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, on the driver's side, and I was able to get the headliner all the way down kind of this way, and then I worked it out the back door here, and I was able to get the headliner out. And then to get the sunroof off, I took first the two there was 2 screws on each side of the glass. There's a size, there's a Torx, and it's a small Torx, and I don't know the size right off the bat, but you'll need some Torx screwdrivers or something to get into them. But I took those 2 off on both sides, and then I pushed up on the glass a little bit and just slid it over enough to keep it out of the rail, out of the slot. Then I reached over the top of the truck. I got up on the seat here and I picked up the glass, and I could get it out and set it somewhere safe. So then I got that off, and then like I said, these 4 hoses got pulled off. These guys right here, while I had them off, I went ahead and blew through them just to make sure they're clean and that the drains are not clogging up for any reason, because you know, you don't want that problem later on. So I went ahead and checked all those, make sure those were good. And then what I did to get the sunroof piece off is I went ahead and there's a brace that goes between right there. It bolts right into that screw there, and it supports the back piece of the sunroof assembly, and it's right behind the motor. Well, over the top of it, it has some 8mm screws, so you can get in there with a ratchet and take those 2 out and then slide it out. I put the seat down, so let me see if I can show you what that thing looks like. Sorry about that, it's a little while for this seat to go up so I can show you. There's this little piece right here. This is the support here. As you can see, it has those 2 screws. That thing slides in to support the sliding window assembly. So you just, once you get those screws out, that one in the back and these 2 up front, you can slide this back and it comes right out. And then there's 2 8mm screws, one that goes right there and one right in front of it there, on each side, and then there's 2 up front that go in there, right there and right there on each side, and then there's 3 up front, 1, 2, and 3. You take all those 8mm first. You go ahead and take the seat, the passenger seat, and you fold it and move it forward as much as you can. You bring the back seat down as much as you can, and then there's 2 13mm screws on each side there. You can see there's those right there. So what I did is I took one of them completely out on the driver's side, and then I loosened the other one to where I had a couple threads left on it. And then I went to the other side there, and I went ahead and loosened those all the way out. Now, what I did do is I did call for some help. You can do it a couple of ways. I guess if you were gonna totally do it yourself, you could use a rope to hold it from one side, run it through that little opening right there, up and around, and tie it to one of those screw holes so that you can let it down slowly. But in either case, I just had somebody help me lower that, open the passenger door, and then they just held it up. When I took those 2 screws out, I came to the driver's side, and the one that had a couple threads, I went ahead and took it out, and then we just lowered it down, and then just kind of set it where it laid between since this seat was down, the driver's seat's down, the passenger seat's forward, we laid that thing, moved it back and down in between the seats this way, So then I went around the passenger side through the passenger rear door and helped to guide it out the passenger side. And so we've got that whole assembly out, and I went ahead and I got it setting right here. And so now we're gonna go ahead and get busy on getting this kit in here. As you can see, these little things are all busted here. So yeah, we're gonna have to kind of see how, yeah, see, you can see the plastic is busted right here. So that's kind of what happened, I guess. Those slid out of there. Yeah, that one's broken as well. You can see right there, it's broken. That's kind of what happened. So hopefully we can get this done. Then once we get that all together, then we'll just try to reverse the process. As you can see, I just set my headliner here for the time being. Got this old chassis in the garage right now. That's for another project I think either you guys have already seen or gonna see in the future. Anyway, so that's kind of where we are right now. I'll leave it at that, and then we'll do some more when I get ready to put that back together, or when I get that kit installed over there. I'll tell you what I did. Still trying to figure out how to go through that. So all right, well, let's get back to work. Well folks, I guess that's gonna do it for now. Please like, share, subscribe, share the content with your friends, and we'll talk to you on the next round. See ya.